So as we just heard, the Coupang chairman's absence from the National Assembly hearing over the company's data breach fueled anger from lawmakers and the public. And discussions on tightening regulations for online platforms are now gaining momentum. For more on this, we're joined today by An Junseong, an attorney in South Korea. Mr. An, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
So a revision to the Personal Information Protection Act was passed by National Assembly Committee yesterday, and this raises the cap on penalties for large-scale data breaches to up to 10% of a company's revenue, right? What do you make of this? Do you think it will significantly encourage companies to strengthen data security?
Yes, the proposed amendment to the Personal Information Protection Act reflects the clear move toward a stronger regulatory enforcement against large-scale data breaches in South Korea. From legal perspective, the possibility of such substantial financial liability is likely to encourage companies to strengthen their data protection and compliance frameworks. However, its practical effect will depend on whether and how the amendment is enacted, and also on the matter how it is implemented and enforced.
I see. And the National Assembly decided to file a legal complaint against the Coupang founder and former chief executive officers for not appearing before a parliamentary hearing yesterday. And a separate Democratic Party lawmaker has now proposed an amendment that would impose an entry ban on foreign witnesses who refuse to attend hearings without valid reasons. What are your thoughts on this? How realistic is the entry ban proposal?
That's an interesting question. The National Assembly, as you said, has decided to file a legal complaint against Coupang founder Kim Bum-seok and the two former chief executive officers for failing to appear at the parliamentary hearing without justifiable ground, citing the violations of the Act on Testimony and the appraisal. So from a legal standpoint, the move reflects the National Assembly's clear intent to reinforce the authority of its investigative and oversight powers with respect to foreign witnesses. However, the proposal to impose an entry ban on the foreign witness who declined to attend the parliamentary hearing raised complex legal and procedural issues. So as a result, actual enforcement will require a clear legal basis and procedural safeguards.
Right, and it's now fueling anger from the public, and consumers are now filing lawsuits against Coupang. Are they likely to receive any compensation?
Whether the consumer can receive compensation will depend on several legal factors. In this case, plaintiffs must establish not only the data breach has occurred, but also that Coupang was negligent in its data protection obligations and that the breach resulted in actual damages. In this respect, the Korean court has taken a very conservative approaches in awarding compensation in data breach cases. So while the plaintiff cannot demonstrate concrete financial harm. So accordingly, the likelihood of compensation will depend on the plaintiff's ability to prove both negligence and actual damages.
Right, and this is not the first time South Korea has faced major data breaches. We saw previous incidents involving companies like SK, KT, and Lotte Card. What regulations are currently in place in South Korea regarding large-scale personal data breaches?
Yes, while the Personal Information Protection Act provides a comprehensive framework for the data security, recent large-scale breaches, including companies such as SK Telecom and KTS, exposed the regulatory loophole in Korea, such as delayed notification, unclear threshold for the mandatory reportings, and insufficient threshold for non-compliance. So this instance suggests that although the law set out the statutory obligations and penalties, the practical enforcement and effective deterrence remains a challenge. But interestingly, if we actually compare with European EU standard with Korean standard, Korean standard is not weak at all. Actually, it's strong in of itself, but it depends on how we implement it, how we enforce that policy. I think that's kind of a question you have to talk about in the future.
I see. So I guess it's now up to the companies to protect and strengthen their data security. All right, Mr. An, thank you so much for your insights this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.